Good afternoon, and welcome to the December HR Business Services Committee meeting on Tuesday, December 10th. We have no guest presentations for this meeting, so we'll move on to the department report, starting out with Human Resources. And we have our staffing updates for the month of November. You can see that they'll be located on the consent agenda. We have a number of new hires in both our certified and non-certified staff, as well as retirements, resignations, and leave of absences. Departmental updates for HR is the HR team, along with finance, have been working on the site staffing and budget review meetings, and the last meeting for that date, the last meeting date for that will currently be finalized. So that is for all the different sites that we have throughout the district. On November 14th, members of the Human Resource team participated in the Duluth Chamber of Commerce Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Workshop. This workshop is excellent in helping us provide guidance on how our business community can support and empower our Indigenous-led organizations and offer valuable insight into local Indigenous culture. On the 27th of November, HR personnel participated in professional development activities, including topics on workplace discrimination awareness, stress management topics, conflict management strategies for staff, and sensitivity awareness. Our benefits update, the Benefits Department hosted their first retirement information session on November 25th. The meeting is geared towards employees who are looking to retire in the next year or so. In addition, the Benefits Department is also processing all the open enrollment submissions and assisting many of our retired employees in navigating how their new choices for health insurance through the Medicare Retiree Group Help options. We also have a hiring update that is included within this departmental report. And lastly, for our contract negotiations, the final group to negotiate is our district-wide Instructional Administrators Association, and the next meeting date yet is to be finalized. That is our final group to negotiate for this 2023-2025 cycle. Do we have any questions on our HR monthly departmental summary report? Good. Great, moving on to business services, we are looking at our enrollment report. Currently, for the month of November, we have 8,139.64 students enrolled in the Duluth Public School. That is still well above our budgeted number for our budget. What we do see from the month, as we continue through this time of the year, we will see that number drop in December as we have a number of students who graduate at the semester time. What is also interesting, if we look at our ISD 709 activity enrollment by month, you can see that we had an incredible gain of students from September to October, which is sort of against the historical trend. And you can see that we have been tapering off, but not to the same extent that we normally do historically. Do we have any questions on our enrollment report? Yes, Member Banks.
So I'm wondering if, because I had requested that the adult education be included, is that going to come back? As I know it was there before, or I don't see it here, so is that possible, or?
It is, and I'm sorry about that. I thought he had it embedded in here. Let me look on my, maybe it's embedded. Embedded, yes, one moment. Or go ahead and I'll get back to you.
Okay. Are you comfortable with that, Member Banks, if we just proceed? Perfect. Do we have any other questions on enrollment?
Comment on enrollment. We are looking at investing some funds towards enrollment campaign, working with Adele Wellens. I've been working with Executive Director Zunich on some funds for additional promotion of the schools, enrollment follow-up. There's a company that we're working with that does this work quite well and has a really good return on investment, and we believe we would more than recoup the money that we would spend on it.
I think that's a great idea, Superintendent Magus. It's always good to increase our funds coming into the district, and plus to be able to advertise all the amazing things that we have going on in the Duluth Public Schools. So I would definitely be in favor of something like that.
Great. It's about $25,000, but for every student we bring in, it's nearly 10,000. So even if we got 3 students, it would pay for itself.
Yeah, that's great. Any comments, Member Sadowski or Member Banks? Great. Moving on to Child Nutrition Departmental Report, you can see included in our packet this month, you can see all the number of meals that we're serving for both breakfast and lunch at all of our different sites around the district. So it's great to see those numbers. We don't have any fun facts this month like any USDA grants, fresh fruit, milk, pizza, anything like that. Just straight numbers for our nutritional report this, but I do want to point out to the public the number of meals that we do serve our students during the school year, and that has increased because of lunch and breakfast being free to all students within the state of Minnesota. Any questions on child nutrition? Great, moving on to our facilities, and I know this month Executive Director Severance is going to do our facilities departmental report.
Yes, thank you, Chair Eater. For our maintenance and operations, in the past month, facility maintenance crews have completed 309 work orders and are currently working on 258 open work orders. Under our capital and construction, the Myers-Wilkins repairs have begun. We do have a superintendent with ICS covering the project and the scope. They are almost completed with the brick wall, and we are hopeful and that we will have students back in the gym by the after the winter break. Working on chiller replacement, also at Myers-Wilkins, looking for quotes on that. Boiler inspections have been completed with our insurance. Rockridge Mechanical Room access is scheduled to be completed during winter break, as well as the Homecroft Cafeteria soffit rebuild. We are also, and may have been discussed at a previous board meeting, but looking at the potential for solar for the DSC site because we do have some money left in that bond for the build that we can look into that. So more to come on that. Just a couple other things to note for our health, safety, and environmental management. We have done several audits and inspections over the last month. Lincoln Park Fire Code inspections were completed and all minor fixes were corrected by December 1st. Lester Park and Rockridge also had fire inspections complete. Congdon Park State Fire inspection for the Head Start was complete. We also did a noise level testing in our Lowell Art Room, and they were below OSHA action level. And we also did a walkthrough at Denfeld to investigate a smell that was concerned. There's been some air handling updates that were made, and that seems to have resolved the issue. Other quick updates, continuing to have good numbers with injury and incident statistics, and next month we'll have a full report on that.
I was just in the Denfeld boys hockey locker room to drop off some stuff. I'd like to report the smell in that room as well. So if we could maybe look at the air handling there too, that would be very helpful. Superintendent Magus.
Yes, thank you. I just want to point out, when we talked a little bit about the bonding piece and the possibility of some funds that could be used for additional projects. The money that is left from this project can only be used for construction-related purposes on this project here at district office, which includes the transportation building and the facilities building. So for the sake of the public too, I want them to know that any money that would be spent towards something like solar on these buildings is not money that could be spent at the refurbishing of the Duluth News Tribune building. It cannot be spent on teachers and reducing less. It's one-time money that can only be spent on construction here. And so I just wanted to point that out. And that was something that Executive Director Zunich, after just really thinking, is there any other rock unturned that could be used for this? That was something that we came across. We also, from a financial standpoint, and this is something I informed the board about a little bit as well in my weekly update, is that the city, or the county, actually, they had some TIF money come back, and so we're going to be receiving about $350,000 there that I know that the board had expressed interest in looking at trying to get back and doing a contract again with the Duluth Transit Authority for bus passes. That would fund the second semester bus passes as well as next year's bus passes if we are able to do that. So that's something that we want to move forward as an advancing equity proposal.
That really is fantastic news. And thank you, Member Banks, for your advocacy on behalf of that as we've gone through this process, but I think that's huge. Just great news. And thank you all for your thoughtfulness on the solar and figuring out a way for our community. I know that that's been very important for our community, so thank you for that, doing that work.
Thanks. And along those lines, the Lincoln Park project is proceeding. We have an MOU. We have businesses out there putting bids together for it, and I think that that will be a no cost to the district.
All right, next we have our technology department report. You can look in the departmental report and see the activity that we have each month going through our technology department with a special focus on security. We have several E-rate and RFP bids out, including one, let's see, bid aware on hold, dude. There's a couple of them. I know there's a pilot program. There's one for bid 1324. It's an MAN and an ISP service bid. We also have a bid for a pilot program with the federal government for cybersecurity. We have not heard back on that bid. We also have a bid out for an uninterrupted power supply and also for some more ISB and MAN services. Several of those E-rate and RFP bids out. The Bloom AV team will be back in the district to look at 300 classrooms the week of December 16th. This team will verify and correct any issues with any of our technology. And then also you can review our carbon footprint if you come in and look at our agenda. So do we have any questions on technology? And is BART officially, when is BART's last?
It's January 3rd.
January 5th? Okay,
Right
good.
after the beginning of the year, and we're posting or have posted his position.
We'll be posting for a temporary.
Right, for the remainder of the
For the
year.
remainder of the year, within the next day or two.
Great. And I know that those positions can be very difficult to hire and to find, especially when we're talking about working for a public entity as opposed to private. So my assumption is that we're working on a plan B if we can't quite get that hired. Okay, great. Do we have any questions on technology? All right, moving on to the transportation departmental report. We do still have continuing concerns with staffing, but our drivers and our helpers are doing the best that they can, even though we're short-staffed. And our bus maintenance crew is working hard. So that's about what we have for transportation for this month. Okay, great. Any questions on transportation? Well, good. What we will have for recommended resolutions at the school board meeting for next month, or excuse me, for next Tuesday, is B-12-24-4071. That's our certified tax levy for 2024. That will be payable in 2025, and that's roughly about $45 million. The second recommended resolution we have is B-12-24-4072, and that's acceptance of donations to the Duluth Public School. You can find all those donations located in our agenda packet, and I'm sure we'll talk about them at the full school board meeting. Next, we move on to what we will have on the consent agenda. We have our staffing report that will be part of our consent agenda. We also have our finance, essentially our monthly fund balance report that will be submitted. And we will have our audit that's coming for fiscal year 24. That will be available to us early next week, probably. Yeah. Yeah, and that's mainly because the auditors are working on that piece of it. So we will keep our eye out for that. We also have fundraisers as part of our consent agenda. When we look at our bids and our RFP and quotes, we have bid 1333, and that's the transportation building addition. That is going to sort of go along with possibly the solar project, and we will be building on up here at DSC so that we can store our heavy equipment, correct?
Heavy equipment as well as salt and sand
that's right.
for the roads and lots.
We don't want our sand to get wet, right? Want to keep it out of the elements. For our contracts, change orders, and leases, we have a contract, a letter of agency for an E-rate consulting service. That will be for January 2025 to June 2026. I just want to make sure I'm up on that one. And then we do have some miscellaneous informational items. We have some expenditure contracts located on page 45. Those are expenditure contracts. You can find there, we have some no-cost contracts as well, 159, on page 159 for our no-cost contracts. Getting there. And then lastly, we have no revenue contracts for this month. So we have a pretty quiet month in HR Business Services. Do we have any questions?
Just one more quick comment, if there are no questions, but Simone needs to go to work on the
I
audit.
have to go have a
Yes.
I have a phone meeting with the auditors.
Oh, good. Thank them for us. Thank you.
Member Banks, I apologize. Our Mars coordinator had put that information in an email, and it wasn't included this time. So I'll make sure we get it for you. Yeah, thank you.
All right.
And just as far as other facilities-related update, I was at the groundbreaking for the Incline Village project today. Very, very impressive, and I know sometimes people have said we should have sold it to another entity or things of that nature. When we think about the development that that's going to produce and the tax base and the number of students, I think we're going to have some real positives. And thinking about enrollment as well, I was talking with our local mailman, and he said that he's doing a lot of deliveries at the new apartment complex. And I asked him, what are the demographics? Are there any kids? And he said that it is very mixed, and there are quite a few kids over there too. So I see our enrollment continuing to rise as we get new developments like this.
Well, I think that's everything. So thank everybody.